All right, good morning everyone. I'm Leon with Stripped Down Street Rods. This is an absolute monster to drive. It's totally a blast. But there are three kind of minor issues that are kind of presenting themselves. So one of them I'm going to address today. If you're not careful, or if you're kind of casual, this will sometimes grind going into fifth gear. Now, I've kind of read around, looked at some of the blogs that you see online. I've actually talked to a couple of transmission guys. And the last car show I went to, I actually talked to a rep from Tremco who's very familiar with this six-speed manual. So he asked me a couple of series of questions. Does it pop out of gear? No, this one doesn't. Can you go into reverse from stopping and from neutral? Yes. That no issues there. No other grinds or noises. But again, if you're casual, it will sometimes grind going into fifth. So he suggested to do a transmission flush and replace it with a Mobile 1 synthetic. On the oil, there are actually two types of oil. There's the kind of the standard Mobile 1 ATF, and there's also an abbreviation for an LV. This is what I purchased here. So the LV version stands for low viscosity. Though it is for other types of cars, not for this particular one. So I just went with the standard. So we're going to change out the transmission fluid. And according to that, I believe his name was Scott, he's saying that, of course, the synchronization between fifth and sixth is having an issue, or a possible issue. If changing out the fluid doesn't help, then it's probably going to need that new synchronization. He does say this could fix and resolve the problem. I've seen a couple blogs where they do say that's the case. One of the blogs I read was to change out the reverse lockout solenoid, which I did, and of course that didn't change anything. And Scott kind of laughed as well. That's like changing out your tires when you have to replace your brakes, or you're having a brake issue. So let's get into this and see how it goes. So we're going to get this transmission up to temperature. It'll help on the drain side. Nothing hard, nothing fancy, just get the tranny up to temperature. And we'll get it on the lift as soon as that's done. Open the car. Alright. So here's the transmission, of course. I did get this to temperature. So our fill plug is going to be right here on the side, on the driver's side. My finger is right here. That's the fill plug, and the drain plug. It's going to be on basically on the same. This will be on the passenger side on the rear. That's your drain plug. So I'm going to open this up, get this to drain. I am going to try and measure it, how much oil is coming out, so I can just kind of get a feel. This will hold approximately 4.5 quarts. Now what that means, when this is 4.5 quarts, there's cooling lines that go up to the part of the radiator up front. It has its own radiator for the transmission fluid and the oil fluid to help cool. So that line plus the radiator will have transmission fluid in it. So when you go to drain, total will be about 4.5 quarts. We'll see how much we'll get out. You're not going to get all of it out, but you will get the majority of it out. That's why I want to get a measurement before we do so, and we'll go from there. All I'm trying to do is capture the amount of oil. Ow. we're gonna let this trickle out. The bulk of it, I marked this on the gallon jug. So in the gallon jug here, I got over about 3¼ quarts. So if this was full, we're still about a quart shy. All right, so this is my fluid extractor and pump. I basically took out the inside cylinder, added a little fuel line here, and I'm gonna drop it straight into the side. I have the luxury, of filling this from the top. So obviously this is an actual C6, but the entire powertrain is a C6. It's a donor car from 09 Z06. So we're gonna fill this in. I'll drop this right into the hole and I'll just fill it from the cork top side above. All right, so we got this filled. I put in about 3¼ which is not, of course, 4½. I've learned that in order to get this actually filled, now we got to get the tranny back up to temperature, meaning we're going to move that oil that's in the cooling lines to the radiator back to the tranny. We've got to get that moving and come back and do another fill. So we're going to go for a quick ride here. All right, the first road test I did just a few minutes ago, it was smoother. It wasn't a huge difference. Fifth gear didn't have any issues. So brought it back, did a little top off, which actually didn't take much. So we'll go for another drive here and see how this goes. I'll go through all the gears, nice and easy, nothing too hard or too strenuous. I just want to feel how it engages into fifth. So that was the second road test. I did several fourth to fifth, back to fourth, did a couple into sixth, third, fourth into fifth, again back to fourth. It felt really good. Much, much better for sure. Now it's not entirely 100% out of the woods, but it definitely feels way better. So I would deem this a big success. Now each case might be slightly different. For me, I didn't have any other issues. It didn't pop out of gear. New clutch I did about 1,000-ish miles ago, all brand new clutch, OEM. No other gears had an issue. I can go into reverse from stopping. I can go into reverse from neutral, no issues. Early on, a few months ago, I did change out the reverse lockout solenoid, but that didn't do anything with this 5th gear thing. Drained the fluids. I did measure about 3 1/4 quarts that came out, plus a little bit. I put back in maybe 3 1/4 and a little bit more, maybe 3.4, not quite 3.5. I'm gonna let this cool down completely. I'll check the fluid again, do another finish top off. But for the most part, this is way better for me. Of course, I'll do some more driving, more testing, but at this point, I'm gonna check that box. Yes. All right, so this is a follow-up from changing the oil on the transmission. I'm kind of scratching my head. In the video there, you can see it when I did the change. It was very different. It felt really, really good. I had no issues at all. Let it sit for a few hours, came back, topped it off, which didn't take much. And then I, of course, let it sit overnight, went for a cruise the next day, which was today. And it's like the old tranny again. Very different than when I filled it. So I'm super frustrated. We're probably gonna have to pull this out and change out those synchronization gears. We'll see. So stay tuned. I'll get this resolved one way or the other. Till then.